It was definitely reported yesterday that Pep Guardiola is going through a divorce. He's divorcing his long-term wife, 30 years of marriage, and the mother to his children. And that is not something that's easy to deal with. I do think it kind of played a factor in his performance for City against Brentford last night. Um, I mean, we have to cut him some slack. He's going through something, and it makes sense that maybe he might not be in the best of form as a coach. But yeah, yesterday I do think it's a reflection that some of the decisions that he made, I am questioning the fact that he did decide to take off Kovacic, who is the only sort of defensive option besides the actual back four for Man City this season, or in that lineup. I wasn't sure with that decision and why he decided to make it and to bring on Gundogan, who's been heavily criticized this season that he doesn't even have the legs, and we know his defensive abilities are not even something to be discussed. So Kovacic sub, I do question. I don't think he should have made that sub, especially since Brentford were always running at City. Kovacic didn't have a yellow card, and we know Gundogan doesn't have the legs. At least Kovacic has the legs. So for me, I do question that decision. I even thought he'd maybe bring on someone to help Kovacic if Gundogan was coming on, maybe to ensure a measure of control in the game, to keep the ball. I thought it would be alongside Kovacic, not rather for Kovacic. So that is something that I was pretty shocked at. And the fact that he also decided to take off Phil Foden when Phil Foden was having a good game. I do still think that if you maintain that quality of Phil Foden going forward, the Brentford defense will be a little bit worried in throwing themselves up front, especially to be vulnerable to the qualities of Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden on the counter. They could be exposed yet again. And he did say that Phil Foden was looking a little bit weary, but there were literally like 5 minutes to go. So I was not sure. I think Phil Foden is a better ball retainer than a lot of Man City options. At least even if he's not going to score a goal, he'll keep the ball moving and he won't lose the ball often, right? So that is something that could have come in handy in the final few minutes of the game, especially at 2-1. You could have also brought on Jack Grealish to really just keep the ball, to ensure that the points were safe. So yeah, I was not necessarily too convinced by the decisions that Pep made. I think McAtee as well, he has to score that chance. He came on for Phil Foden and he has this chance in the 90th minute, and he basically has the time, the space, and he's in the box, it's on his left foot, and he just hits it high and wide. And for me, that was unforgivable. A minute later, Brentford equalized. You have to check your chance. For me, I had no excuse. At least get it on target. He knew himself that as soon as Brentford equalized, he was screaming. He knew that he had made, an error. And that's football for you. You don't take your chance. They go on the other end. They score. So it was not going to be an easy game. It wasn't a comfortable game for City at all game, but at 2-0 with 15 minutes to go, you're assuming that at least City can see the result out. And it's been frustrating for City this season. It's one of those games that they've definitely had. The defense was not good. Ake can leave, I think, with his head held high, but Ikanji's performance was not necessarily good, and we know Matthias Nunes at right back is probably not the best of options. There are injuries, but Pep also decided not to play Walker. I do think that's a good decision. I do think Walker has been some sort of liability for over the past 2 seasons, and this season he's just been completely exposed. So yeah, City's defensive record is not good. I also do think Ortega maybe should get a stronger hand on that header from Janssen. The best keepers make those saves and secure the 3 points for their team. Having got to it, I do think that he should do a little bit better, especially since I know Ortega is a great shot stopper. He makes great saves, and I was just kind of disappointed that he couldn't make that one. So yeah, drop points for City. It wasn't going to be an easy game at all. Brentford have one of the best home records in the league this season, and they've been on good form. So it was always going to be tough. So unfortunately, City, I do think Newcastle win their games against Wolves. I do think Newcastle win their game against Wolves, so City would, for me, end up the round, let's say, 3 points behind top 4, and that is a little bit worrying. I think they need to get results going, especially with the fixtures that are coming for City. PSG away in the Champions League, crucial game, as well as Club World. They have to get at least 3 points, I think, to make it to the knockout phase, at least play the round of 16 knockout. There is Forrest still coming, Liverpool still coming, Arsenal still coming. Very tough fixtures ahead for City. Chelsea still coming as well. So City are trying to fix it with three possible incoming players, and it looks like it's just a matter of time until they're announced. So maybe that will also help City return to form. At least City didn't lose the game. I think this is one of the games that a few weeks ago City probably lose. So maybe, slight improvement, but of course higher standards are expected of Manchester City. Speaking of Chelsea, that will be going to the Etihad Stadium soon. They dropped points to Bournemouth 2-2 as well. On an easy team, you just look at where Bournemouth are on the table. They're literally, I think, a point behind City. So it tells you that they are performing well themselves by their standards. So it wasn't going to be an easy game. And it looks like Chelsea have reverted back to factory settings. Jackson still missing his opportunities. Earlier on in the season, he was taking them away. I do think, again, his all-round play is brilliant. I even think it's better than Haaland. His hold-up play, his ability to dribble with the ball, carry, and even link up with his other teammates in the final third, absolutely brilliant. He creates a lot of chances, but again, he's not scoring enough when he should be scoring. Yes, he has a decent amount of goals this season. He's definitely improved from last season, but he should be scoring more. That's just how it is. Cole Palmer also scored for Chelsea. Again, without Cole Palmer, where would Chelsea be? But defensively, again, Chelsea aren't good enough. Enzo Maresca, I do think Chelsea were overperforming at the beginning of the season. Halfway through the season, I think now it's settled, and it does look, or it's starting to look like it is the first time that this Chelsea coach has been at the club, right? So it does start looking like this is the first year that the coach has been at the club. Maybe he will need some time to, really get it together. But definitely for them, the objective for this season is top four, which is definitely attainable. So yeah, they need to fix it. I think they have won one game in their last 6 or something. I think it's 2 points in their last 10 or last 15, which is the draw against Crystal Palace and the draw now against Bournemouth. Besides that, they've been losing games. So that's not good form for Enzo Maresca. He needs to turn it around, get a grip on his Chelsea team, and look to get back to the form that they had at the beginning of the season. And lastly, a few words on Liverpool. Forrest, finding a little bit maybe of a title decider that ended in a 1-1 draw. Forrest were always going to be resolute. Salz has definitely been the keeper of the season this season, who kept out, a lot of good chances from Liverpool. Liverpool should have won the game based on, things like expected goals. They were the better team, created the better chances. But I do think Forrest, based on how they defended, they were well worth the point. Salah didn't have a good game. He has had a few off games now. So yeah, he's looking to, maybe is it maybe the Christmas tree post? I believe conspiracies like that. I believe, in superstitions like that. Is you definitely understand that Liverpool had a near perfect start to the season, where they only lost one game, and I think they drew a few, like 2 in the first 19 games. So you always gonna assume that, especially since it's Slot's first season, a dip is gonna come at some point. They're definitely not going through the same form in the next 19 games. So therefore, I do think that the title race is still alive. Now Liverpool sits 7 points above Arsenal with the same amount of games played. Arsenal play tonight and they play Spurs. I believe Arsenal win this game and they can put some pressure on and make it at least 4 points behind Liverpool. So yeah, with that being said, that is interesting. It's still in Liverpool's hands. The title is still Liverpool's to lose. But, I do think it will actually become much more interesting than it would have been. I think Liverpool should have been running away with the league by now. I think they should be 10 points clear based on the standards of everyone else. But I think they've also a little bit slightly dropped their own standards. Yeah, so with that being said, that's my video. I will be back with the Spurs and Arsenal review just to see if Arsenal can get back on track, especially after it looks like they're going to be knocked out of 2 cups. They were knocked out of the FA Cup on penalties by 10 men United when they had 12 men themselves with the referee, and they definitely should have buried United, but they didn't. And they also are trailing 2-0 to Newcastle, and they have to go to St. James's Park, and that does not look likely that they will be able to overturn that. So it is crucial for them to at least look to get back in form in the league, at least to keep the title race alive. For me, they're the only realistic team that would be able to catch Liverpool at this stage. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But Liverpool, again, disappointing. Are we going to come back to some of these results, especially against Forest at home where they lost 1-0 and now they've drawn 1-1 when they should have won the game? Are we going to get back to results like this and be like, this was the turning point for their season, where it looked like they might at this rate losable. But is that likely to happen? I don't know, but I do believe that this title race is going to have a lot of twists. I do think that Arsenal can challenge Liverpool for the title this season still. Yeah, with that being said, please subscribe and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
We'll be there.
Do you care though? Who?
We'll be there.